program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to the African bush. We are sitting next to a big herd of buffalo. Hopefully there are lions in the area. This is Safari Live. Welcome to the Sabi Sands Private Game Reserve. We're on your own privately guided live African safari. My name is Brent, there's camera with me today, and it is quite cool. It's about 16 degrees Celsius, which is 64 Fahrenheit, 63 Fahrenheit, and I'm just sitting next to these buffalo and I'm listening now in case we can hear some lions. I heard them roaring a little bit earlier, but so far, no luck. They sound like they're still quite far north. Taylor and Brian are out in the other vehicle in search of those lions. We're coming down to the south to look for leopard. Now remember, we are live and we are able to take questions and interact with you. Isn't that incredible? So hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions at WildEarthTV. Now, of course, out here in the African bush, it's not always about the big hairies and scaries like over my shoulder. Now, I have an unidentified moth species that landed on our dashboard. And see, now there were quite a lot of them of this particular species out last night. They're sort of reddish brown, and this little guy's catching a lift, and you can see there's a slight breeze, and that's what's moving him around. You can see that inside of his wings, that glow. You can almost see his individual scales. Now, when you find moths and butterflies, one should never really pick them up, and the reason for that is that when you touch them, their scales immediately come off, and that hampers their flying ability. So if they walk onto your hand, it's okay, but you shouldn't really try pick them up or touch their wings because it's not very nice. Now, I've got another friend that I've just spotted in the car, and he's a little bit more dangerous. He's hiding in the radio underneath here. I'm going to track him out. It's a bright green spider. I'll keep an eye on him. But judging from these buffalo, I don't think there are too many big cats around. And you can see it's a breeding herd because they're cows. I didn't see any babies yet, and I'm not sure exactly how big the herd is. We could be right on the peripheries of it. There's a young bull walking towards us. Now they'll be most ecstatic that there is some green flush around. And you can see they're all through the bush. A lot of them are still resting, ruminating, sleeping. I'll wait till it warms up a little bit before they get on the move, which we are going to do right now. And we're going to keep moving. Now, we know these buffalo are here, so we'll do a meander around, and if Taylor finds any lion tracks coming in this direction, we'll be back here for certain. Now, not only do we have two vehicles driving around showing you the wonders of Africa, we've got Stef, who's marching about on foot, so let's go say good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we are marching about. This morning we're trying to march across quarantine, but I got distracted by a little bit of a pit over here, which I'll show you in a second. I'm Stef, and on camera today we have Xander. We've got this fresh breeze blowing into our faces from the south. Quite a chilly morning. I mean, I must be honest, it doesn't feel like the 64 odd degrees or 63 odd degrees that it says on the thermometer. I think the wind chill factor today is playing an effect, and I know anything that drops below 60 degrees and me are not friends. I'm definitely a heat person rather than a cold one. But just have a look at this. We've been on quarantine now. I've been walking around quarantine now for about a year, and I haven't really noticed this pit before. But this is basically the leftovers of a termite mound. The new termite mound, or the remnants of the termite mound, is what you're having a look at right now. And everywhere where I'm standing and pointing now was the old termite mound. You can basically see it's fairly big. I'd probably say it's in the region of about 20 or 30 yards in diameter from one end to the other end. And what people used to use termite mounds for, and actually the point of what I was trying to tell you right now, is they used to mine the clay and the cellulose that the termites build their nests from. They used to dig into the termite mound like this and build a kiln in the side of the termite mound, build a big fire in that kiln, and then make bricks. And basically take the bits and pieces of clay, mix it with a bit of water, turn it into a brick about this big, and then bake it in the termite mound that the clay came from. And when the clay was mined out, like it is at the moment, been mined finished, they then used to use the kilns as a charcoal maker. So they used to take very hard woods. Let me see if I can find one for you. This tree silhouetted on the skyline is one of the harder woods that we have right here. This is the Terminalia. I think this is the green cluster leaf, actually not a silver one, but I must be honest, there's some massive silver cluster leaves on quarantine. And they used to put the faggots of wood, which are wood pieces about this big and about that round in diameter, put them into the kiln, and then using very low oxygen and a very low slow burning fire, they used to basically carbonize that piece of wood and turn it into pieces of charcoal. It takes a long time to do a whole tree like that. I know in Mozambique, where they do it to leadwood trees, it can take up to 3 months to make an entire leadwood tree into charcoal, which are then sold on the side of the road and traded in. But I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. I don't know if this was a charcoal kiln, but it definitely looks like it was a brick mine at a particular time. And although it looks like it'll hold some water, I don't think it will. There's just not enough clay at the top of these crests. And quarantine clearings on top of a crest, a relatively tall crest that we have out here, and it just won't hold enough water. It'll be too porous. There's too much sand. All right, now on to what we're going to do today. I don't really know just yet. We just put our faces into the wind and are just enjoying this fresh breeze coming off of the south. It's not carrying any particular smell of any moisture. It doesn't feel like it's going to rain, although, you know, I'll be able to tell you more about that by the time this walk is finished. But without further ado, what we're going to do is send you over to Taylor, who has yet, I believe, to say good morning to you all, and we'll catch up with you in a bit.
Good morning to a very cloudy and 63-degree Fahrenheit here on Djuma. Now, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me we've got Brian and the Thumb. There he is this morning. What do we got? Oh,
morning. Hi,
well, very smart way from the Thumb this morning. I feel underdressed. He showed me, definitely. Right, so I've got some very exciting news for all of you, is that we have picked up on a very big herd of buffalo, well, just their footprints that seem to have crossed into our traverse. And guess what footprints are following those buffalo? The lions. So now the search starts on where to find them. So I'm just checking, I'm on this fire break now. We're just south of Buffelshoek cut line and just trying to figure out where these lions have crossed again. Now you see I've got my spotlight. The lighting is not that great and I'm struggling to pick up on the tracks on the ground. So you'll see me with my head dangled over the side as usual, trying to see where these lions have gone. But it's good news for us because their tracks definitely come back south again. So here we go, we've got lots of buffalo footprints. Well, it's quite difficult to see, they're all over here. Right, now maybe I see a lion track here. I just want to double check. I need to get a little bit closer. It's very hard to see. The sand is very soft over here. Okay, that's not them, it's just some buffalo crossing. Now, I know that Marilyn this morning, good morning to you. You'd like to know if the buffalo are aware of the size of the herds in an area. Now, I'm not sure if they're aware of the specific individuals or how many are in a pride, but they're definitely aware that there are lions in the area, and that's why we haven't been seeing any lions for such a long time. I saw some lions yesterday morning, and it was the first time for about a week for me, which was quite exciting, and not a dead buffalo, which you've been seeing quite a few of. Now, that's what's happening in this time of the year when there isn't lots of food. Oh, I've got such a fright. Let me turn that radio down quickly. Now, that's what happens when there's not a lot of food around. The big herds of buffalo all stick together, and of course the lion's tail right behind them. And unfortunately, it's inevitable that the lions are going to catch up with that herd, and that's what they've done. They've chased this big herd of buffalo. There seems to be more than 100 here. There are lots of footprints crossing over, and brought them back from the north down to the south. Though we do have lots of food here for them, but I think there's going to possibly be one less buffalo around. Okay, now we didn't pick up anything else over here, but the light, like I said, the light is terrible, so I could have quite easily missed tracks, unfortunately. I think I'm going to go down and check Mvubu Road. I'm going to have a little drive around here just to see. Brent said he did hear some lions calling last night. He said it sounded like they were coming from the east moving west as well, and I thought I heard a really half effort roar from a female. Perhaps she was looking for the rest of the ladies. I'm not sure why I carry on trying to hunt down these lions so we can see them. Let's go to Stef, who has got an insect on this chilly day.
Not really an insect, but I know it's sometimes difficult, these things. This is an arachnid, but just have a look at how grotesque this thing actually is. Not very big. I'm going to put my finger next to it for some size. This is a sun spider, or red Roman as we call them, or Solifuge is actually its more correct name. And one of the rarest Solifuges that we have out here. And we're being treated to a rare display of this particular Solifuge outside of its burrow. And for those of you who know a little bit about Solifuges, you'll know that we get basically three types here. We get a daytime Solifuge that is covered in these white hairs and runs around at close to light speed. And then we get a nocturnal Solifuge, which is red and 3 or 4 times the size of this one. And then we get this Solifuge. And for really, I'm going to ask some help over here. Please take some screenshots of this Solifuge. The reason being is that they're not a very well-known group of Solifuges, these burrowing Solifuges. So you can see that she's slow moving. She actually moves around at the edges of her burrow. She's busy looking for her burrow at the moment. And her burrow is silk lined and has a cap of silk. She comes out and hunts around. Now, not a lot of is known about these burrowing Solifuges. In actual fact, according to a friend of mine, Mr. Lee Guttridge, who's an author of a number of books around here, he needs to collect these because there's look how that's probing into a hole using those front legs. These are modified front legs that actually act as sensory organelle. And you can see how she's busy using those legs to great effect to feel around her. I must be honest with you, they are terrifying if you have a look at their faces. They're not venomous. They have 4 pairs of chelicerae, so 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, that gives them this horrible beak-like face. But in actual fact, they're relatively harmless. They can't do much to you. They can give you a bit of a nasty nip, but that's about it. So please, definitely do take some screenshots for me if you don't mind. Send those to questions@WildEarthTV, and I will gladly pass them on to my friend, Mr. Guttridge. And who knows, maybe we're busy adding to science as we look at it. To me, it looks like they're hunting, or she's hunting for termites. She's bypassing ant nests and ant colonies, but investigating minutely any termite emergence. I don't actually know where her burrow is. I had a quick look around just before you came to me. I can't see any burrows. They're characterized by almost like an octopus-like pushing of sand. She keeps her burrow clean by pushing out sand, and she almost makes these octopus-like patterns in the sand. That's how you know it's a solifuge. Digging down about 5 inches. She's caught something here. I'm going to see if I can move this leaf so we can share it with her. No, she hasn't. Just busy testing that termite mound. See, isn't this just the most amazing thing? Where are you going? Are you looking for a place to hide out for the day? Trying to move that sand. You can see another termite emergence there. Now, like I mentioned, it's pretty safe for me to keep my fingers near to this particular arachnid. They're not true spiders because they don't make silk, except for this one. Can you believe it? Now, we don't quite know how the silk is made in this particular solifuge. We just know that they build a silk-lined burrow about 5 inches deep. And that's all we pretty much know about these. And I can see her busy chewing on some sand and processing sand. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. You're looking at us expanding our knowledge on these creatures basically in front of your eyes. There, she's caught the termite, or she's dug open where some termite. No, she's busy moving sand around. She's chewing sand. What are you doing? Let's see. There she goes and pushes that sand. You saw her, that characteristic push of the face. Now that swollen abdomen is characteristic of this particular species. All the others have abdomens that are much smaller in relation to the rest of their body, especially the little daytime hunters. They run around, I think it's because they run around, as I mentioned, with speeds close to the speed of light, that they are eternally hungry. What are you doing? Now is having a bit of a rest, giving us a chance to have a look at the structure of this particular. Oh, look at that breathing. See, between the abdomen and the head, so this is called the cephalothorax. That it is the common thorax and head, 2 eyes on the top of the head, and then those long chelicerae there, that is what's used to dig with and to hunt with. This modified pair of front legs has sensory organelle all over them. They're not true chelicerae like you'd find in spiders. And then here we have the abdomen. That is the abdomen there. Just look at her pushing the sand around, chewing through that sand, moving the sand. Like I said, folks, you're busy watching science in action here. We've never seen these particular solifuges in action before. There's very, very little known about these particular arachnids. Not much more that I can tell you, really. We're just busy watching. I'm trying to describe the actions to you. You can see that she's now chewing big rocks out of the way. What are you doing? Chewing up the sand, moving it behind her with her middle legs. These legs here, she's putting to great use. Those legs there, just behind her head. Not using her 4 back legs too much, except for locomotion. But her her front legs are probing. She then uses her 4 other legs basically to shift sand around. Where are you going? Let's see what they're doing. I mean, if we get this particular solifuge producing silk, Anna Marie, you've made a comment that is close to my heart. You said this is why you love bushwalks. It's all these interesting things that we're watching at the moment. I must agree with you. To me, watching something new that we don't know anything about, especially something like this, which at first glance is horrifying, but as soon as you get to watch them for a little while, you realize that in actual fact they're just doing what they're meant to do. They're just form following function with very little, in this particular case, appeal to aesthetics. But I must agree with you, Anna Maria, this is definitely what gets me up in the mornings and makes me enjoy these particular outings so much. Now you can see she's busy working through the sand there, busy chewing it through those pedipalps. I mean, that's a fairly large rock that she's using there. Let's see what she does with it now. They are very good diggers, these solifuges. The larger nocturnal solifuges actually actively hunt scorpions, and they can dig a scorpion out of a burrow in record time. She just looks like she's working through the sand. Once she's worked it through her chelicerae, those front moving parts, just unbelievable. Alright, we're going to stick around with this spider, or this arachnid, for a bit and send you over to Taylor, who's got some guinea fowl to show you.
We've got a few popping out again, and as you can see, running through the bushes, you can just see that bright blue head is the guinea fowl. Well, we're waiting for a few more to pop out, but they seem to have changed their course quite a bit and are now going a little bit more south. Perhaps there is something over there that I don't know about, or they could be running away from me. They were quite comical this morning. They were all chasing each other and making lots of noise, but they have disappeared now, and that's what happens sometimes, unfortunately, is that the animals disappear. Well, those were guinea fowl. We're still on our search for the lions, and we're just doing a quick little loop around. So I've done a square now along that fire break. I came down Mvubu Road, and I'm now going to go back up Gowrie cut line. And if I don't see anything coming out here, well, then that means they're somewhere in this block, and I'm going to have to go for a little walk. And it's not too thick, so I'm not particularly worried, and hopefully we find, we've got an impala there that's probably also going to disappear behind the bushes like the guinea fowl. Yes, he's gone now. You just saw his horns going behind the termite mound. Animals, let's not play this game again. They did this to me the other morning. It seems like it's going to be one of those days. But we shall persevere on, just checking the ground. I haven't driven Gowrie cut line yet, so I need to just double check and make sure that those lions perhaps didn't cross here. Now, we're in their favorite area where they love to hunt, their favorite drainage line. So let's see if it is still their favorite place, and possibly we're going to find them somewhere around here. And I haven't come across that big herd of buffalo either. Brian, I wasn't imagining all those buffalo tracks.
No.
Okay, they were then, just checking that maybe I wasn't hallucinating early in the morning, or my brain hadn't quite woken up. But no, there were lots and lots and lots of buffalo tracks. But to try and find a big herd like that, you'd think it'd be easy. Apparently not. Well, in the meantime, we've got some Nyala. Let's see. Maybe you can get that one that's looking sort of towards us in the gap. You can see the little brown specks. It's quite difficult. Everyone's hiding in the bushes. Now you can already see how much thicker the vegetation has become after this little bit of rain we had. Normally we could see right through a lot of these trees, but they're all starting to get their foliage and starting to plump up quite nicely. Well, it's just a small herd of Nyala that you can see there, but now you see what I mean when I say that it's going to be one of those days where everything hides behind the bushes, or maybe they're just showing you how well they camouflage. Perhaps it's a day that we speak about the disruptive markings and all those types of goodies that the animals have on their bodies. It seems it's going to have to be one of those ways. Now you can clearly see how those white vertical stripes and all the little bits of white on their body actually blend in quite nicely with the branches at the moment, now that they seem to be more of a grey colour. Also the thorns of the acacia. And that just breaks up the solid colouring of their body as they move through the vegetation. And we're actually going to watch this one disappear completely. Look at that. Amazing that those three colors of black, rust, and, well, not rust, a brownish color, and white can hide an animal so well. I remember actually from a few days, yesterday morning, William was asking a question, and I did unfortunately not get around to answering it because I didn't find any more Nyala. And like I say, I always try and remember the questions I don't get to so I can come back to them. And William wanted to know why the Nyala sort of body to leg ratio seems to be sort of out of proportion. Their legs look very small for the size of their body. Now, even if you look at a kudu has got very dainty legs. They don't need big legs. They're very agile on those little sticks. And if you had big feet as well, if you're walking through a lot of this vegetation, I think you would crunch on a lot of leaves, unless you were an elephant. And you obviously had that little padding underneath your feet that helped you walk a lot quieter. But for these antelope, it suits them perfectly to have these little dainty legs, just standing in and amongst the branches and missing the leaves to not crunch them. And they're quite effective. They still allow them to spring about even with such a large body mass on them. You can hear everybody just starting to wake up. Oh, we've actually got a turtle dove up here behind us calling away. You can see him just up top of this very dead tree. That one, there he is. I don't know if you can hear the turtle dove. It may be a bit far away. You can see there how it's distending its throat. Right. Well, good morning to you, Turtle Dove, and thank you for that lovely call. But while I carry on searching for the lions, let's go to Brent, who's found something dead.
So we've returned to the position of Tandy's kill, and we can see the meat, but there's no sign of Tandy. Now, it doesn't mean she's not here. I mean, she could have, of course, gone to fetch those two cubs that we haven't seen yet, or she could just be lying where we can't see her. Let's just move forward a little bit. I want to check, maybe, because William said there were two kills here yesterday. I can only see one at the moment, so maybe she's dragged and hoisted the other. Oh, hang on. What are the Waterbuck looking at? The Waterbuck are staring at Impala. And I think they can actually smell the carcass. Probably the wind's blowing directly from the carcass towards them. Okay, so no snorting, so it's probably they didn't spot Tandy. They spotted those Impala that were running behind us, and the Impala aren't snorting either, but we just want to go very carefully and very slowly here. Let's just go back. I mean, they're staring so intently, it makes me feel like we must check behind us. Let's make sure there's no cars coming. Just go, we're going to reverse to that. There's a termite mound behind us, and then we're just going to go check forward. So imagine if she's gone to fetch the cubs, if we're here at the right time. There are quite a lot of other people coming to check around here, so we don't have too much time here, but I will keep an ear on the radio. I just want to make sure she hasn't hoisted one of the other carcasses into these trees here. Doesn't look like it. Let's just go forward. There's Waterbuck. I'm no longer looking here, but it's always best to double check such things. Now, Tandy's cubs are some of the only cubs we haven't seen on drive yet. Now, for those of you who don't know much about Tandy, Tandy is Shadow's sister. So from Karula's first litter. James Richard says it would be such a treat if we saw Tundi's cubs. Well, I agree wholeheartedly with you there, James. So it doesn't look like she's hoisted. I can't see her sleeping under any bushes, and no tracks crossing north. Now there is always that possibility, as I said, she's gone to fetch the cubs. So I'll keep my ear out. There are her tracks. She's heading, Liam spotted her tracks. She's heading west away from the kill. I said she could have the cubs hidden anywhere. She could just be going to a pan which is close by here for a drink. And let's just go have a look at that water hole, little pan quickly. And these tracks look like they were from quite early last night. There's elephant tracks over them. Come on, Tundi, show us your babies. I also got a report from Herbie about leopard audio inside Djuma, so we were coming towards that area, so we'll just check very quickly on Tundi's kill. Now the water, and she's still there. Liam's still got her tracks. So we're about to arrive at the pan. Let's just have a quick look that she's not had a drink and decided to have a snooze next to the water hole. So here's the water hole. The track went off towards the water hole, but we don't see her. She's not snoozing under a quarry. Not around the corner, there's the water. This way we can have a good look around the whole water. Okay, so she's not here. So we're going to go check inside Djuma. While we do that, Stef is still playing with his sun spider.
Well, if there's one person that can find you that leopard and Tundi, it is Brent Leo Smith, I have no doubt. He will be successful, or at least failing the successful location, try as hard as he can at finding this. But we've still got this Solifuge. She moved off from where you were last with us, probably about half a foot or so, and in this impala indentation, or this impala track, she's excavating her tunnel for the day. And what we've noticed is that this particular Solifuge, this sun spider, this burrowing sun spider, is chewing her way through the sand. So she's chewing the sides of the tunnel that she's excavating, the roof, the floor, the sides, and then moving the sand to her back, to where you see her abdomen there. That's the back of the Solifuge that you're looking at now. And then kicking it out. And then every now and again, and I'm expecting it to do it anytime soon, turning right around and then working a little bit on the entrance of her burrow. And I'm hoping that she'll give us another, there we go. She's coming now with the excavated sand. Teresa, you've just said it looks like she's going to lay eggs, and I presume you're making that observation on her. Look at that, moving the sand to the side. I presume you're making that observation to her swollen abdomen. Teresa, I've seen these Solifuges once or twice before, and they all have those swollen abdomens. I think it's just a sign of this particular species. Now this is her clearing her burrow. Have a look there, chewing that sand the whole time. I'm not wondering if they don't. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely fascinating? Now, I do know that they make a silk-lined burrow, and I'm wondering if that silk isn't produced in their mouth parts rather than in the back of their abdomen, like we'd expect from spinnerets. A spinneret would be where the spider gets its silk from, but it's not the only silk-producing organelle in the insect world. Just lots of things produce silk, and lots of things produce silk from all over the place, from their mouths, from their foreheads, from their arms, even from glands all over their bodies they can produce silk. So, but the mark of a solifuge is that it is singularly not silk producing and has no venom glands. So it doesn't make it a spider, really. And there she is now, just going to go and use her front mouth and feet again. So James, all the way from Kansas, good morning or good evening to you, James. James, you've asked what preys on these particular spiders. James, mongoose definitely will be one of the primary predators of these particular spiders. So dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose, slender mongoose, probably white-tailed as well, since they're both nocturnal. Definitely a lot of birds. You'd find anything from a Burchell starling to a hornbill busy, and kingfishers preying on these particular spiders. Of course, anything in the insect world that can overpower this particular spider. So from scorpions, other spiders, praying mantises, any number of ground beetles and predatory ground beetles. So there's a fair amount that will actually take her out, and she's quite slow moving. Not necessarily a bad thing out here. Fast moving things tend to attract attention, and when you attract attention to yourself out here and you're this size, you get gobbled up pretty quickly. So she'd have to be careful of any number of predators. She's got quite a fearsome set of jaws on her, which she'll use to defend herself. I have never been bitten myself by a solifuge, although I've read reports of them being able to draw blood. I mean, you won't lose your finger or anything like that. Now she's definitely managed to excavate a cavity that is least as large as what she is. Here she comes out again. Let's see if she turns around. She's done this now 3 or 4 times, pushing sand out of the burrow from underneath her, and then turning around just like she's doing now. There we go. And then working on the entrance to her burrow, just chewing through the sand there. And I mean, she's definitely working the sand through her jaws. There's just no doubt about it. You've got to wonder if they eat enough in the evening to warrant the metabolic cost of building a burrow like this. I mean, it's just unbelievable. How long she stays here, I don't know. I've seen these excavations, these burrows all over the place. I'll actually see if I can find you one today. They're fairly common. Like I say, it looks like a picture of an octopus if you had to draw an octopus in the profile. Yeah, she's going again, working on those, and there those pedipalps coming out again. There she pushes that sand. Chew, chew, chew the whole time. And she turns around and goes back to work again. Like I was saying, we are watching science in progress here. Not a lot is known about this particular species of solifuge. They do occur from here all the way up into East Africa, these burrowing solifuges that live in a burrow. The daytime solifuge runs around like crazy and doesn't have a burrow. And the more nocturnal and larger, redder version, or the largest solifuge that we have here, probably about as big, not quite as big as your bald fist if you were, I'd suppose, I've seen them as at least as big as my son's fist, and he's a 4-year-old. I'll give you an idea of how big they can get. I'm going to put my thumb next to her just for some relative size. You can see that she's probably about as big as my thumbnail, her abdomen. And that indentation that she's in now is where an impala has kicked the soil forwards. Where she's digging is where the right-hand hoof made its impression. But she's excavated a sizable chamber there now for herself. I just have to say thank you to all of you that took those wonderful screenshots. Kirsty tells me from Final Control that they came pouring in. I just want to say thank you very, very much for those. I'll definitely be forwarding them on to my friend and mentor, Mr. Guttridge, and see what he has to say about them. Who knows, maybe you even make it into his latest book. There she comes out now again. Cheryl, you've just asked me an unanswerable question from where I'm sitting now. You've asked me, how do these spiders mate and what is their gestation period? Cheryl, I'll be dead honest with that one. I wouldn't have a clue, to be honest with you. I don't know enough about solifuges to answer that question. I can guess though. Excuse me. So males deposit sperm into into these females after a bit of a ritualized courtship. Spiders or arachnids in particular are well known for eating their mates, and that's because the males do not behave like males should, and they behave more like prey and they get eaten. There's also a very strong case in arachnids that say that males sacrifice themselves in the ultimate sacrifice, and that is to make sure that the female and all her receptacles are jam-packed full of sperm so that another male doesn't get the chance to replace his sperm. What actually happens with solifuges, I'm not sure. Perhaps there's something on the web that can help us today. I mean, I'd welcome any attempt to try and educate all of us. I know I'm definitely not the only one that doesn't know about solifuges, so for those of you out there with lightning fast fingers and the ability to send that information along, please feel free, and I'll share it with as many of you as I can. You're welcome, of course, to use that email, the questions at WildEarthTV, or send it to the hashtag SafariLive. And if they start coming through early enough, before the end of drive, I will share it with everyone. She's now definitely dug deep enough that she actually doesn't need it for a retreat. Robin, you've asked, how can I tell that it's a female? Robin, that's a good question. I tend to call all large spiders females. They tend to be all females. It could very well be a male. They're very difficult for me to sex apart. I'm not sure exactly how even to sex solifuges. They're seen so rarely out on these bushwalks that although I'm able to identify a solifuge from any other arachnid, I know very little else about them, to be honest. So I'm at a loss as much as what you. At the moment, I've exhausted my information resource that I have in my head about solifuges, at least. I'm just sort of relying on my observations more than anything else. But we've been gone from Brent from a good long time. It's given him enough time to scour the landscape, and I'm absolutely sure that he has an update for you on what's been going on around Tundi's carcass.
Now we've made our way to where Herbie heard that leopard earlier this morning. So we're just going very slowly, checking for tracks. We're about to arrive at Bothel's Waterhole. Now, so far we haven't seen any tracks, but that doesn't mean he couldn't have taken a game path. So Herbie said the sounded right in this area here. So what we've done is we've made sure we've come from Cheetah Cutline for our eastern edge of our traverse area, and we're moving our way back to the west towards where the last audio of that leopard was. So very, very exciting. Remember, hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or questions at WildEarthTV if you want to. Oh, a pair of Steenbok. There you go, a little male and a female. Looking at us through some fallen combretums. See the little male there, little horns. Now, these are adult animals, they're not babies, they're just very small. And they're monogamous, so they will stay in a pair till one dies. They live in very small little territories of about 4 acres or so. Oh, off he goes. And one of their defensive mechanisms against predators that lets them stay in such small areas is the fact that they bury their feces. So they'll dig a hole, defecate in it, and that's to try and mask their area, their presence in the area. They're a very active chewer. He seems to be doing everything in a rush this morning. And you're supposed to chew your food properly before swallowing it. Of course, for a little ruminant, that's not such a problem. You can always bring it back up and chew it again to get the maximum nutrients out of it. Okay, well, we're going to keep them moving. Let's see if we can spot any tracks. Now, Marianne, who is in the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, is wondering, is Atandi currently in Karula's area, and will Karula chase her out? She's not. She's actually within her territory, Marianne, and it is just where that kill site is to the east of Cheetah Cutline, to the east of Djuma, sort of on the way down towards Cheetah Plains, so well within what is considered Tandi's territory. Okay, we're about to arrive at the Buffelshoek waterhole, and let's turn off the car and go in stealth mode. Oh dear, stealth mode's not going to work because the elephants have pushed you. Or maybe you can make it work. Maybe we've got enough momentum to climb up and around. Do we not do it? Oh, yes, we made it. Still no sign of tracks of that male leopard, but I don't know if we're going to get over the next bump. Come on. Zania, hi, welcome. Zania says, if we do manage to see Tandi's cubs today, I will have been lucky enough to present all 4 sets of leopard cubs. Wow, I did not realize that. That would be quite exciting. We're definitely going to have to go back there, have them. Okay, so we're about to arrive at the waterhole. We've made it over the bump, so back into stealth mode. Still keeping an eye on the road for the tracks, but I'm also scanning the bush. I haven't seen a leopard at the Buffelshoek waterhole in ages, but that's probably because the Nkuhumas have been spending so much time around here. Okay, so there we are. So not much here, unfortunately. There's an Egyptian goose. Oh, the first pied kingfisher we've seen here forever. There he is. Now, of course, that kingfisher is not after fish. I doubt there's any fish still there. They all died during the drought. So I think he's after possibly frogs or aquatic insects. Boom! Lovely camera work there. Oh, he got something. Oh, and down it went. Now, of course, there is a possibility there could be some little fish here. Now, there's a couple of different ways fish move between these water holes, even once they're dried up. Often their eggs get caught around the legs of aquatic birds. And there we go, isn't that wonderful? And I know we've spent many a wonderful hour with the pied kingfishers at the Buffelshoek waterhole. So great that there's a kingfisher back. Lions, and she's got blood on her face by the looks of things, and it looks like there's a dead buffalo with cubs. Poor Taylor's been tracking them forever, and we just happened upon them. So obviously they were successful in their buffalo hunting last night. Let me just call it in on the radio, and I'll try to find a spot to get in a bit closer. Located in Nkuhuma's on Nyala at Buffelshoek Dam. Ooh, grumpy. Look at that. That could explain why there are no leopards around here, Vim.
There he does.
Standing by, Tex. They've got a Nyala here, just to the south of the dam wall. Oh yeah, let's see if we can get in. I can see there's cubs, there's one lioness, but I'm sure there's some more around. I think we can get in through there to get behind. Now, I'd love to say it was, of course, pure skill that VM and I found the lions, but I'm going to have to go with pure luck. Literally, we've just been looking at the kingfisher, and we're going to go down towards where the last sort of leopard audio was. So this is definitely not one of the old Duggar boys. We've seen them hunting recently. This is a buffalo cow. So from a big breeding herd. That's possibly why we saw a section of that herd on Philemon's cut line. There's another section elsewhere. So there we go. I saw a third lioness as well. Ah, there we go. So little cubby's getting stuck in. Now the Nkuhumas have been incredibly successful over the last while at hunting buffalo. Oof, look at that, if looks could kill. Yes, flat. And Jacob's wondering, how often do lions need to make a kill? Well, it completely depends often on what the kill is, Jacob. But normally every 2 to 3 days. But with bigger kills like buffalo, they can sort of, even 1 a week or 2 a week will be fine. So far I can only see 3 lionesses. There's one lying at the back there. 2 more lying behind the little, what is that, a green thorn? But let's stick on the cubs for now. I'm pretty sure you find all 8 cubs are around here, but only 2 that I can see feeding at the moment. They are looking incredibly fat and full. Oh, there's another one. Didn't even see that one, did you? Can just see that tiny little bit of lion fur popping up every now and then behind the buffalo. So there's 3 cubs feeding. Now, I think a lot of people are worried about the Nkuhuma cubs having mange. Now, I'd say it's still too early to tell. At the moment, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, they look like, or these 2 cubs at least look very healthy. And so while we sit here, I'm going to do a head count quickly while we can through the bushes. While we do that, Taylor has got another member of Africa's Big 5.
As you can see, I was just having an argument with this young female elephant because she wanted to come and drive and I said no. She's got so close to my vehicle. But they are very relaxed. Hello, little one. You can see I'm right here actually, surrounded by elephants this morning, my favorite thing to do. And they're eating everything around me. But let me lay down and get out of the shot. Hello, girl. They're munching on some buffalo thorn and they're just picking out all the little green leaves that are coming through. There we go. Nice little shrub. Yes, hello everybody. Good morning. Do I smell nice today or something? They're coming to me for some bizarre reason. Look at this. Brian, do you have peanuts in your pocket? I bet that's it. Brian has got peanuts in his pocket or an orange, and that's what the elephant's are after. Hey, I'm watching you. So I'm also just trying to watch this one female elephant who really does feel like she wants to drive Jigger this morning. But no, you cannot. It's my car. You can't drive it. And this one's just eating right here, as you can see, munching on a buffalo thorn. It's quite a big herd and it's so lovely. Obviously the last time I saw elephants, the herd wasn't too happy with me and I didn't get to really enjoy them. But this is a wonderful herd. They're all so relaxed. They're not even rumbling. You can see this little one over here is playing quite nicely. Delicious. Now we're noticing over the last few days how the elephants are preferring to feed on the new shoots of grass as well as the new leaves that are coming through. And Bobby was wondering, are the elephants going to stop eating the bark and the roots? Theoretically, Bobby, yes, they should. Obviously, if we don't get any more rain, and in the next few weeks, then they're going to have to resort to going back to feeding on the roots and on the bark. And I know James was saying yesterday how if they continue eating all that hard vegetation, it's going to wear their teeth down quite quickly, and they obviously don't want that. So it is better for them and to eat the leaves and the grass because it's also got a lot more nutrients in it. Oh, we can hear a bit of a rumble behind my vehicle. They're talking and now they're saying, right, we're going off. How quick was that? And that lovely Mapani pomegranate of those bright yellow flowers that elephant is passing. Well, I haven't really seen the elephants eating the flowers of the Mapani pomegranate. Possibly they don't particularly enjoy them. Well, let's see. It could be a learning curve for me. This elephant is going straight towards that lovely tree. No, you're just posing for a picture with the flowers. And it looks like eating a buffalo thorn or something along those lines. Bit difficult to tell from here. But what a lovely herd. And is it nice to finally see some color in the bush rather than just seeing grey on grey? We've now got grey on green and yellow. It's looking really beautiful. And there's a few sprinkles at the moment too, so keep your fingers crossed that we do get a downpour after the show and not now. We don't want to have to go racing back. So this little sprinkle's okay for now. Perhaps we're going to have to put the rain covers on at some point. And it's very quiet. And I must tell you, I'm so envious that Brent found those lions. They've given Brian and I a complete run around. We had all their tracks coming south down Agari Cutline, all the little ones and all the females, and possibly they must have turned around and cut through a drainage and gone back up that way. It's quite bizarre. So well done, Brent, for catching those lions. That was going to be my next move after we were going up Hyena Road. We were going to head to the dam. Very, very sneaky, those lions. Oh no, that sprinkle is coming down a little bit harder, hey Brian? Yeah. Let me try and go forward a little bit. I think we could possibly get another gap of these elephants. Right. So that was a wonderful way to start my morning, being surrounded by elephants, by very happy elephants. And they are going to be a lot... is that one better? No, that one's also now moving off. They seem to be a lot less stressed now that there is a little bit more food around. Right, I think I'm going to have to love you and leave you. We need to put the rain covers on. And while I do that and try and find a safe spot, let's go to Stef, who has got a flower.
We've got such a surprise for all of you. This, as you might guess already from the texture of the bark, is the only... now I've forgotten exactly what sausage pod tree. It's the only sausage pod tree that we have on Djuma outside in the bush, and she's gonna have babies. Come and have a look here. She is just jam-packed with flower buds everywhere. So have a look at that. There we've got her flowers. They are about to open. They'll probably open in the next 2 or 3 days into these scarlet blooms. She actually has one of those blooms has actually bloomed already. Here we go. There's one that fell on the floor. That's the inside of the flower. Just have a look at how deep purple that is. It is obviously not that dark when the flowers do open, but they go this most lovely scarlet color. And here's a new flower. This one has been knocked off probably from some birds that were busy feeding in there. And let's actually have a look and see if the color, I don't actually know what the inside of these look like, and see if the color of them on the inside matches the flower. Let's have a look and see. Yes, there's the baby flower inside, will burst out of the coverings just like that in 3 ways, and then the flower itself will unroll. Let's have a look here and see if we can unroll it. Have a look at that color coming out. Just look at that. There we go. That's the color of the flower. That fantastically scarlet color. Have a look at that. And just jam-packed, full of nectar. And these trees are a very big favorite amongst birds and insects. The flower itself gets quite large. Oh, just have a look at that. Can you imagine all of that was packed into that tiny seed? That's the old flower, and this is the new one that's come out of there. There you go, you can see that red color there. So these flowers are already almost fully formed with their colors on the end of all these stalks. So in every one of these stalks, you've got one of these little miracles that are going to arrive. This tree is going to look spectacular in the next couple of days. And you know, it's been such a nice journey. We came through this tree on a walk probably now, I don't know, about a month or so ago, month and a half or so ago, and it was completely bare. There was a green pigeon nesting in this tree. That's when the last time we were at this tree. We came back and then we found a flat wall spider on the tree. Also no leaves, no sign of anything just yet. And then we were speculating whether this tree would actually produce flowers or not, whether it would be a female tree or a male tree. And of course we were answered by this flower stalk, and that means it is a female tree. She will produce flowers. Last year she never produced a single flower, and this year she's producing what looks to be hundreds of flowers. I don't know, there are definitely a couple of hundred flowers that will pop out and be eaten with relish throughout its flowering time. Animals like monkeys, giraffe, kudu, duiker, steenbok all come and eat these flowers. It's just such a bounty at this time of the year. And there you can see that scarlet color on the 3 petals, and there's where the pollen gets made. There's even a worm on the inside there, already infested with its insect hosts, making the most of the early season. You can see how large these pollen producing organelles actually are on the inside of the flower. Fairly large worm. Have a look at that. Don't quite know what's going on over there, but while I'm busy looking at this in more detail, Brent is with that lion pride and that buffalo. Amazing.
So we're still sitting with the incredible Nkuhumas. Now, it is starting to rain a little bit, so we're going to stand by here. Taylor's putting her rain covers on, and then she's going to come here, and then we'll move out to put our rain covers on as well. Now, interesting, we've got 3 lioness here, and looks to be all 8 cubs. Taxon's just found another Nkuhuma lioness with blood all over her face, probably about 600 meters from here, heading north. He thinks there might be another kill in Buffalo's Hook. Now, look at that cub, look at that belly, and she's still eating. It's literally just hanging on the ground. So unfortunately Vem's just said to me that we do need to cover up, so we have to leave these lines. It's starting to rain quite hard now. Now you just excuse the noise. We're going to try ride it out for as long as possible. Oh, you can see she's listening to VM under cover. That Velcro noise is obviously something lions are not too used to. Okay, so sorry about that coming through. VM's just putting a rain cover over the camera. Oh, look, fortunately for us, it looks like it's slowed down a little bit, but I can see some more rain coming in from a distance. We just got a sort of wave of rain there. It's stopped now, but we will go put our covers on as soon as Taylor and Stef have managed to do the same. Of course, it's a little bit more difficult for us since there are lions right next to us. I think one of those, and see how long it takes for the cubs to start growling at the adults. Now, Dory has been watching these little lion cubs, and whether they're suckling or whether they're feeding on a carcass, they always seem to have their ears back or flat, and Dory is wondering why. It's a sign of aggression, Dory, so they're sort of warning the other cubs or other lions that they don't want to share too much, and it's what lions do quite normally. So that ear flat is a sign that they are angry or aggressive. So you'll normally notice if they're feeding by themselves, their ears do not go flat, but as soon as there's a bit of competition, the ears go flat just like that. Look at that. And you can see the cubs are looking a little bit bedraggled this morning, and that's from the rain, so they're just a little bit wet. Oh, there's a foot to play with. Now, if you're a lion, it's quite fortunate we're right next to the Buffelshoek waterhole, so there's water right there. Ellen is wondering, as the cubs get older, will the lionesses try and make their kills closer to water sources? Now, Ellen, not necessarily. Lions actually are not dependent on water. If it is available, they will take advantage of it, but they are quite happy in certain areas getting all the moisture they need from the kills they make from the blood. And even the cubs are able to sustain themselves on the blood from the kills and mother's milk at this age. So, as I said, we've got all 8 cubs around here. Oh! And 3 lionesses. So, fortunately, that rain has stopped for a little bit, so we'll wait for Taylor to get here before we go put our covers on, just so you guys don't miss any of this incredible Nkuhuma action. Now, they've eaten quite a bit of this carcass from what I can see already, so they might have killed quite early last night. And of course these dark, windy evenings are great for hunting. Is that a 4th lioness? Yes, it is, coming in from the river. Now, Judy H is wondering why there are no bite marks on her nose or on her face like we've seen with the other buffalo kills, and let's just go in a bit closer there. And Judy, the reason for this is it's probably the fact that they used the more traditional throat grip. It's a smallish buffalo cow, so it wasn't as big as the one we saw them kill a few days ago. So they wouldn't have need to grab it by the nose because it's quite small. So they probably would have grabbed it by the throat. And to see bite marks on its back, that's something you again see more traditionally in bigger buffalo. With a smaller buffalo like this, it's a bit easier to catch. So I'm pretty sure they would have jumped on its back, but you're probably not going to, they wouldn't have chewed on it. They probably got it down to the ground quite quickly. Okay, Taylor has arrived with Brian, so we're going to pop out and go put our rain covers on, and I think we'll leave Taylor here, and we're going to go carry on looking for that leopard that was calling. There's Taylor up on the damn wall. So while we move out, let's go across to Taylor.
Hello. This area may look familiar because yes, we're going to see Brent just now too. Now, fantastic find again on Brent's Accord. Really, really good spotting as they came through here. And it sounds like I was actually racing off after we put our rain covers on to get to another female lion, and it seemed like Taxon had found her just a wee way up from where we were on Hyena Road. Apparently she was covered in blood and she was quite full too, so perhaps they've got another kill on Biffle's hook site. She did cross north. Now, how exciting is that? I just want to wait for Brent to move completely out, as we don't like to move too many vehicles around a static sighting. It obviously causes quite a bit of commotion, but so we'll let him get out nicely and then we'll make our way in. There he goes. There's Brent over there. And he's also going to go and put his camouflage on now to try and protect Rusty. Right, let's go in to see the lions. Right, so we're just going to make our way through here very quickly. And I'm squeaking slightly. We'll try and correct that a little bit later. Now let's try and get in without making too much noise. Good morning, Magnolia. Magnolia was wondering, are the Birminghams still in the area? Magnolia, I haven't seen any sign of the Birminghams just yet, and I presume if they were around, they would definitely be on this kill with the Nkuhumas. So the last thing I heard was that there was one male in Nkoro, and that's sort of it. I haven't heard of too much. So I'm just concentrating here. There's some trees with some big thorns on, and I don't want them to go through my tire. They're just sneaking through this little gap. Oh, we've got the tree climbing lions of Sabi Sabi again. These little ones seem to love the trees, which is fantastic. I'm going to try and let's actually have a little look at them first. It's a bit difficult. How's that, Brian? Is that all right? We're going to look at the lions through the trees, climbing the trees. Let me turn my radio down very quickly. Turn it off. Here we go. You can see them all playing around there. Now the rain is really starting to come down. The drops are getting bigger. Oh, good morning. You're coming over to say hello like the elephants. But please don't jump inside because Mum won't be very happy with me. Look at this little one coming right over here. Hello. It's very nice of you. I seem to always have a lot of luck with the lions climbing over all sorts of obstacles. So I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it another 157 times, is that this is my favorite age of the lions. Now, they've all developed their personalities. They're jumping around quite nicely. They're not afraid to climb to new heights, as we've seen some of them quite daunting. They're climbing all sorts of things. Now, let's see how this one is going to manage on this little Logosaurus that we've got here. Doing quite well, as you can see. The balancing is definitely improving day by day. Those muscles are strengthening up nicely, which is good. Are you going to do a big leap? Come on, do a big jump for us off there. No, going to twist and turn around. And this is all very important because one day they're going to have to balancing. Oh, what have you got stashed there? That's sneaky. Look at that, a bit of skin. Now, what part of the buff? No, it's not. What on earth is that? I have no idea what that is. Looks like maybe some lung. I thought it was skin at first. I don't know what that is. I can't see there. Can you zoom into that, please, Brian? I want to have a closer look. Actually, do you know what it looks like? I think it is the lining of the stomach. Can you see that there? Yes, it's the inside of the stomach walls. That's what we're looking at now, that very furry section. So perhaps Mom maybe tore off a chunk and the little ones picked it up and stashed it away. And now they've got a toy to play with. But I think we're going to possibly reposition again. Let's go a little bit further forward because there's a little one fighting with Mom over who's going to eat which part of the buffalo. So let's do that. Right. Oh no. Just give Jigga a little bit of a rev. Here we go. And we've got the lions again. Oh, and it's a little buffalo. Sorry, it may sound like I'm repeating myself, but I've just seen the buffalo now. And that would make sense if perhaps maybe the other lioness did grab another little buffalo. Ooh, can you hear that growling? The two cubs on the left fighting. Ooh, getting very cheeky now. You see how dirty they are. Poor mom's going to have a tough job on her hands, having to groom them. What a lovely shot, isn't that amazing? So I'm going to sneeze. Achoo! Excuse me, sorry for shaking the vehicle. Thank you, Brian. That lion was not impressed with my sneeze. I seem to sneeze once a drive now. Ooh. Now, I don't know why they're all fighting, because there's plenty of buffalo to go around everybody. And we've got another lioness actually coming through the back. She's going to pop out just now. I don't think they killed this too long ago, because the tracks that we had were fairly fresh. Who's coming through here to eat? And I'm also trying to figure out which female it was that Taxon saw that crossed into Buffelshoek Hook. I haven't seen Auntie Amber Eyes just yet. I've also can only see... Oh, there's 4 lionesses here, so we'll have to try and figure it out as we go along. Who is the missing lioness? You can see the little ones have all got full bellies, but we know that they're going to want to suckle again a little bit later. Lots of birds chatting around here. Heard an apellis, lots of franklin spurfowls. Oh, I haven't seen the lions for a few days, which is quite surprising, because at one point I was seeing the lions on every single drive, and the last time that I saw them they were looking quite thin, and I think that's when Catherine saw them last too, and Catherine said that she's quite happy that the lions did make a kill, because the last time she saw them they were looking thin. And Catherine, I think that was the same time that we saw them. And I'm also glad, and I'm glad that they seem to have chased a big herd of buffalo across to our traverse too. So that'll be the next adventure, is to find that big herd of buffalo. I was just telling Brian how I need my fix of a large herd of bovid. I haven't seen them for many weeks now, and I'm itching to see them, so that's going to be quite exciting. Obviously we're going to have 1 or 2 less buffalo, but it won't make too much of a difference. There's plenty of them to go around. Now ideally they would have liked to have brought down an adult, because having this young buffalo here means that probably by tomorrow night they're going to move off and have to look for something else to eat. But maybe they pick up on the tracks again of that big herd of buffalo and just take another one. I think that's what they're going to do. We've seen them quite a few times searching and searching, even attempting to go after zebra, which doesn't seem to normally be on their menu. And that seems to be quite a common thing in the Sabi Sands, where the lions tend to just love the buffalo. Look at that little one dangling there. Now you've got a stick. You've got an entire buffalo to play with and pull at and yank at, but you want to play with the stick. Typical. Mom's gone out and got an expensive meal, and they want to do everything but eat it now. I suppose they could be full too. You can see that one's got quite a fat belly. Oh, aren't you being adorable? I may even have to put my hood on, because I just washed my hair yesterday and it's typical. Now it's going to get wet, so I'm under my hood. Yes, now try and kill it. Oh, I just need to turn my radio on a little bit. I hear it beeping quite a bit, and I haven't been listening. Perfect. I want to find out who's coming into the sighting. Can you confirm which mobile's coming into the Nkuhuma sighting just south of Buffelshoek Dam? Sorry everybody, I need to just chat to everyone. Right, I think while I quickly sort out the lineup here on this lion sighting, let's go back to Stef and see how he's coping in the rain.
Right, thank you. We've decided to leave the site of that sausage pot tree and in favor of making our way slowly back onto the top of quarantine. We don't quite know what this weather's going to be doing. If you have a look, we've got this dark band of clouds from the south, which is where the wind has been blowing from this morning. And if I look up at the sky, we can see the clouds rolling in, a low-level cloud rolling in. But it's not getting any wetter. A little bit of drizzle around. We've actually got the rain cover on the backpack and on the camera itself. So if I go out of focus, it's because Xander's trying to, by telepathy, I think, figure out exactly where the focus points are on the camera. So what we're going to do is put our backs to the rain, make it a little bit easier for him to do what he needs to do. It's been such a bizarre morning, to be quite honest with you. The bird song hasn't really finished. That morning chorus hasn't really finished for most of the day, and that's because with the cold weather and with the cloud layer, and it was relatively still this morning, it's afforded birds the chance to extend that dawn chorus, to extend the time that they talk and sing and basically proclaim to the birding kingdom how fit they are. And to all the ladies, this is a good time of the year for a lot of the birds to start nesting, for those that didn't nest over winter. Most of the large raptors that are sedentary here, in other words, the tawny eagle, for instance, would have had their babies already. And as you saw from that fantastic sausage pod tree, that a lot of the trees have started to bud and have started to produce some flowers, which is a fantastic thing, to be honest. We're just walking around here now, wondering at just this grass cover. If you have a look at the grass here, and I know Taylor's been taking religious photographs of quarantine for you to show you how well it's greening up, but this was sand. Literally 4 weeks ago, this was sand. We didn't know that there was a single bit of life left in the sand, but as you can see, the tufts of grass that were left have started to sprout, and I have no doubt that by December we won't even remember that there was a drought here. Everything is brilliant electric green. One of my favorite times of the year is this fresh greenness. To be honest, in the Kruger National Park, you can come here from about October through to December, and the green is almost so intense it hurts the eye. It's some of my favorite times of the year in the park, is when burnt areas, and in this particular case, a drought-stricken area, greens up completely. Right, let's wander through this particular grove of terminalias. Watch out, yeah. So Lindsay, good morning Lindsay, firstly, you've just wanted to know why is this particular area called quarantine. Lindsay, quite simply, it was the quarantine site for a couple of animals that they were trying to reintroduce back into the Sabi Sands a few years ago. This area was fenced off, and animals from other areas were placed in here for a couple of reasons. One was to quarantine them, to make sure that they didn't bring any diseases with them, although these types of things are quite heavily regulated. And the second thing was to habituate them to the local animals over here, in particular lions. Lions are only really common in the national parks and in game reserves around the country and around Africa. They don't really occur anymore outside of these wilderness areas. You get the odd stray, of course, but no viable populations occur outside of national parks and national areas. And animals that are brought in an area to reintroduce animals into an area potentially that have been shot out or eradicated due to whatever, are brought in, and they have a time to acclimatize. Now I know for wildebeest in particular that we're tried to reintroduce into the Kruger National Park, they lost literally half of the wildebeest in the first couple of nights. Lions literally used to patrol these fence lines and then just bash these poor things as they came out after a bit. And so that attempt was abandoned after a few years. I know for wildebeest, they did have a successful reintroduction of Nyala. In actual fact, the Nyala that we see around quarantine and around Djuma that are so frequented or frequently seen on these game drives, they were all reintroduced. White rhino were reintroduced very successfully into the park, taken from the brink of extinction in actual fact. So reintroductions of wild animals is important in areas that have had some or other type of imbalance occur over the time that it's taken us really to wake up to the fact that animals need to be protected and need to be safeguarded. And that was where quarantine gets its name from. I hope it wasn't too a long-winded answer for you over there, and that you managed to stay awake for most of it. I just want to come and have a look at this massive apple leaf tree. I must be honest, it is one of the true giants out here, is one of these apple leaf trees, and just such a fantastic shape as well. But another thing that is a true giant out here is what Mr. Leo Smith has for you.
So we're sitting in the middle of a breeding herd of elephant. Oh, sorry, someone's just talking to me on the radar.